everyone, welcome to my new series called Metaphysical Anatomy A to Z. I'm really excited to be here with you today. And so I'm a metaphysical anatomy practitioner. And in MAT, we talk about the psychosomatic and root causes of all physical, mental, spiritual ailments. So the founder of this technique is Yvette Rose, and she wrote this amazing book. You can see how thick it is, that talks about all of these different conditions. And so today we are starting with A. So today A stands for autoimmune condition or autoimmune disease. And this is a huge topic, much greater than I can cover in a few minutes, but I want to give you a sense of some of the general themes that tend to be present with autoimmune conditions. So today I'm going to go over 6 main points that can trigger or can set off an autoimmune response and condition in the body. So the first is that the nervous system is stuck in fight or flight, that we constantly feel under attack. Some people feel under attack physically, where their spatial boundaries are crossed or their personal space feels invaded. And other people experience the feeling of attack as a more mental, with criticism and verbal abuse. And so a lot of times for people that have autoimmune conditions, we're really sensitive to criticism as an adult because we've been criticized our whole lives growing up. And any kind of feedback, we can also be very sensitive to feedback. So what might be normal constructive feedback or criticism to others feels very personal and attacking to us. It also sets off a very defensive kind of reaction in our body and in our subconscious, where maybe we know we want to be able to receive feedback well, but our nervous system feels instantly triggered and we go into defensive mode. Number 2, the second main theme for autoimmune condition is feeling a sense of safety and trust. And a lot of times when we deal with different issues growing up, our sense of safety and our ability to trust ourselves and to trust others gets warped. And so a lot of times we end up trusting people that we shouldn't, and don't trust people that might be healthier for us, or we don't feel drawn to them. And so then when we give trust to people that we shouldn't, that's not the healthiest choice, then we're repeating that cycle of abuse and that cycle of perpetuating that our story that we can't trust ourselves in making decisions is correct. Also, the sense of safety in our physical bodies and in our environments can often get triggered by not knowing what to trust and not knowing which way to turn. Number 3, exhaustion. Exhaustion is a big one for autoimmune. So because our nervous systems are in fight or flight so often, our immune system has to work so hard all of the time just to try to keep our body in balance. And when that happens, we're so on guard, and the nervous system and the immune system gets used to being on guard all the time, that it starts to warp also and turn around and attack ourselves. For anyone that suffers with autoimmune, there's sort of this balance or this, I shouldn't say balance, this conflict even between needing to relax and feeling exhausted and not feeling safe or comfortable to relax. Number 4, the need to be perfect. So this is a big one for a lot of type A's. I know I have dealt with this and continue to deal with it. This sense of I can't make mistakes, or I need to control people's perception of me so that I'm not criticized, or so there's no room for judgment. And that if I appear perfect, I won't get attacked anymore. And so people that suffer from autoimmune tend to overgive without receiving back. And they also tend to feel a need to control. So controlling the situation, controlling people's attitudes or perceptions. And really this is sort of seen as a negative thing, but it's a coping mechanism that keeps us safe from having to endure that criticism and that attack over and over. Number 5, boundaries. So boundaries, this sort of ties into number 4 too. Boundaries is so challenging for people that suffer from autoimmune or that have developed these conditions, because we're not taught proper boundaries growing up, and we think that as an adult, setting clear boundaries so that we get our needs met means that we'll be abandoned and rejected. And that's the last thing that our subconscious mind wants. So it tends to lower and dissolve the boundaries so that we're constantly people pleasing and constantly feeding into what others need, but we're not taking care of ourselves, and the attention never gets reflected back to ourselves, so we never feel truly taken care of and nurtured. It also goes back to overgiving and the ability to receive in a relaxed way, to receive without being on guard that we're not safe or that there'll be strings attached and it'll come back to bite us. And lastly, number 6, suppressed emotions. So a lot of times we feel like we can't express what we're truly feeling inside, especially when we're little growing up. And if we've been silenced, or we have parents that are overreactive or sort of emotionally messy and unhealthy themselves, we end up suppressing our own emotions in order to take care of the other person. And a lot of times that makes us feel like our identity truly isn't as important or isn't as valued as others, which is so damaging for our own internal messages. And then we often end up feeling anger and resentment somewhere inside because we've had to suppress our feelings and suppress our expression for so long. And when we feel that anger, and that anger is also suppressed, our anger can sometimes and often get redirected back to us, so that we end up feeling angry at ourselves for the way that we are in the world, for the way that we have relationships, for the way that we show up, instead of realizing the anger shouldn't be directed inward, it should be directed outward for all that was suppressed. So I hope that gave you a lot to think about, and for anyone that can resonate with any of these powerful points about autoimmune, I would encourage you to reach out to me or another practitioner to start to resolve and release some of these issues, because the more we clear up inside, the more we're free to live from a healthy, happier, peaceful place in the present. So thank you so much, and I will be back with you again soon. Have a good day. Bye.